Volgens die Cambridge Dictionary beteken die term cancel culture of kanselleer-kultuur wanneer 'n groep of gemeenskap, veral op sosiale media, iemand totaal verwerp of ophou ondersteun omdat dit wat hy of sy gesê of gedoen het jou aanstoot gee. Cancel culture het al dikwels lewens verwoes. Dink maar aan J.K. Rowling, die skrywer van Harry Potter, Johnny Depp en onlangs Salman Rushdie, skrywer van Satanic Verses, wat verlede maand met 'n mes aangeval is en byna sy lewe verloor het. Die kultuur van kansellasie maak die ruimte vir gesels en debat oor ongemaklike temas byna onmoontlik en selfsensuur maak dat baie mense op eiers loop. Die ander kant van die munt is dat kanselleer-kultuur mense ook verantwoordbaar hou vir hulle optrede en uitsprake. Die MeToo-kampanje, byvoorbeeld die beweging, het daartoe gelei dat Harvey Weinstein seksuele wandade aan die lig gekom het en wêreldwyd het vroue wat misbruik word deur mans se stemme opgeklink. En dis dan presies waar ons praat vanaand. Welkom by Prontuit. Vanjaar is die huidige Mevrou Suid-Afrika, Lala Mswane, onder druk geplaas om die Mevrou Heelal kompetisie wat in Israel gehou is, te boikot om haar ondersteuning aan Palestina te wys. Sy het egter besluit om wel aan die kompetisie deel te neem. Vanaand gesels ons met Thulani Nzotana, uitspraak. Sy was vanjaar 'n top 30 finalis van die Mevrou Suid-Afrika kompetisie en het 'n baie slegte kanselleer-ervaring gehad. Sy is vanaand hier om haar storie te vertel. Hello Thulani, we are so happy to have you here.
Good evening, thank you for having me.
It can't be easy to talk about your story, but I'm sure you have done it before, but just tell it to me again.
So this year I entered Miss South Africa and the backlash I got was that I'm a rape apologist. So just to give you a bit of context, what had happened was in 2017 actually, I was Miss Mamelodi Sundowns Eastern Cape and my then high school boyfriend got arrested. We were in our first year. And how it happened was basically I accompanied him to the police station because he had told me that he had lost his phone on a boys' night. And when we got to the police station, he got arrested. And I then later learned at the police station that in actual fact, he is arrested for a rape crime. And when I got to the police station, I was seeing familiar faces who were reciting the story of what had actually happened. Now, when all of that happened, I decided that I was going to be silent because the matter was sub judice. But more than anything, I knew both the parties that were involved. And, you know, this happened in a town called Port Elizabeth, where I would say we're a small community. And even then, from within hours of him being arrested, people then started saying, I'm dating a rapist, circulating my photos, bullying me on social media, and it was really just an unpleasant time. And I think what I then continued to do was realize that, firstly, I am not a perpetrator. I do not know what actually happened. But more than anything, I'm going to choose to continue being Thulani. And Thulani is always someone who's always had big aspirations of wanting to be president, of wanting to be changed when it comes to also the culture of GBV in our country. And that's what I did. And within a month, I won Miss Mamelodi Sundowns, which was the national competition. And I was the first from the Eastern Cape to do it. And I think for me, that's when, you know, the bullying and the cancel culture of 2017 stopped because people realized that in actual fact, or I thought they did, that this was a case that had nothing to do with me because they wanted me to speak on its merits.
But then it resurfaced when you became a finalist for Miss SA.
So it resurfaced, and what was sad about it is that now they called me a rape apologist, mistaking my silence and saying that I did things that were not true. And it was really just sad to see how the whole thing got spun into something that was truly false. And watching how so many people jumped onto a bandwagon of a story that I actually did not even know, that I had never even spoken of. So that's just the kind of culture we've become, where we are always looking for things, even if there are no facts to prove it, to cancel people, and that's really sad.
Where did it play out? Mostly on Twitter?
Mostly on Twitter. So it started on Twitter, but it then went to all my social media platforms. So in my journey of Miss South Africa, you know, there were so many negative comments, people telling me to kill myself, people telling me that I don't deserve, you know, to live and that I'm never going to be South African president. How could I, you know, betray women like that? And it was just very nasty to a point where even if my work colleagues or anyone who was close to me, family members, would obviously post and share about my journey, they would get attacked. And the biggest thing is that those bullies were continuously coming into, you know, my DMs and my personal space and just trying to find a way to make me a villain, but to bully me into speaking at their false accusations.
Tulani, the sign behind you says, "Hello, I'm cancelled." It's very obviously written in American, and you say that it has now become part of our culture. So why do you think this happened? Why do people do this?
You know, when cancel culture started, I first knew of it because of the Me Too movement, which I thought is something that as women we should be proud of, because for the first time in a long time we were seeing accountability happen. There are so many crimes that have happened against women, especially in South Africa. We know the stats. And for me, that was good because it meant there's no one who is above the law. But I think my issue with cancel culture is that it is sometimes weaponized, falsely so. And that's what happened in my case where, you know, this is a case that has nothing to do with me. I don't know the facts of this case. And purely because I was associated with this person at the time who, by the way, I've never spoken to or been in contact with or sided with him. But now because when he got arrested, at the time, we were known to have been, you know, in a relationship. People now want to cancel me for it and want me to speak on his crime. So that's where, for me, you know, I think it becomes blurred. And I've seen it play out so many times in South Africa where celebrities are being cancelled on what was said, and there's actually nothing to prove that it ever happened, and there's no truth to those statements. So that's where the danger becomes. And also, I think the fact that we're lacking redemption culture, in that we don't want people to even apologize or it's you're cancelled, that's it. That's also wrong, you know. And in my case, you're trying to cancel me on something that has nothing to do with me, in that you want me to speak on something that's sub judice, and you are throwing me and saying I've done things that are not true. So I've come to learn that even though it feels loud, it's sometimes just better to be silent because you know your truth. And knowing my truth helps me go to bed at night with ease.
I think you're very brave. But you said that it's sub judice. So would you rather be that the narrative than, for instance, that you gave him the benefit of the doubt? Because it seems like, yeah.
Not at all. I think the narrative needs to be that I chose myself, in that I knew both the parties. But within the hours that he got arrested, people were bullying me and saying I'm dating a rapist and saying all these nasty things and circulating my photos. And when something becomes toxic, in which you too would like to know what actually happened, I then chose to know what the truth is, that firstly this person lied to me by saying that they are, you know, going to the police station to report a stolen phone after a boys' night, only to get there and they get arrested. So in that context, and knowing where I was trying to go and the kind of woman that I am, I knew that I, Tulani, was not there the night this happened. I, Tulani, should not be forced to speak upon a case that I too want to know what actually happened. But more than anything, I'm not going to allow these bullies to bring me into this and drag me with something that has nothing to do with me.
Thank you, Tulani. The takeaway is definitely you choose you and the truth. And it's simple and it's strong.